it's your girl Chris Vaughn, aka Chris the Artist, here on these internets, and I'm back with another Mane Mondays. As you can see, we're in a different atmosphere. I had to film at home because your girl just left all her equipment at the salon, and I ain't feel like driving over there to get it. Okay. So with that being said, today's Mane Monday is going to be my top 5 tips to ensure that your natural hair does not frizz up and revert back to being natural when you get a silk press, silk wrap, whatever they're calling it. And just FYI, a silk press is for natural people and a silk wrap is for relaxed people. These tips actually can help my relaxed girls too, to ensure like longevity of that kind of flowy, in the wind, all of that good stuff, okay? So without further ado, let's jump into the tips. My first tip, and this is probably the most important tip, not just for natural hair, not just for relaxed hair, but for healthy hair in general, is to keep those ends clean, honey. You need to get those ends clipped. That is the best #1 way to ensure that your hair doesn't start to frizz up. Split ends are very, very porous. They are constantly trying to find any type of moisture, and any moisture that it can get, it will like just start to swell and poof up. And that's when you see kind of that roughness on the ends and everything. That's typically because your ends have not been properly trimmed. You need to make sure you stay on top of clipping your ends. My #2 tip, probably like really close up there with #1, is moisture. And I'm not talking like moisture cream for when you're doing like your twist outs or your braid outs. I'm talking the importance of putting moisture, imparting moisture into your hair at the beginning of the silk press process or silk wrap process, and that is at the shampoo bowl. The shampoo bowl is probably the most important step up there with clipping those ends that you can do to ensure that your silk outs will be exactly what you need them to be. You have got to get the moisture in when you are shampooing your hair. There's a lot that's happening when you're shampooing your hair that cleanses your hair, treats your hair, moisturizes your hair, put the protein moisture balance into your hair. And if you don't know what you're doing, then you will get this wrong, okay? So I recommend and I strongly encourage that you get to a hair care professional if you're wanting to silk out your hair, because we know what should go into your hair at the beginning so that we can make sure the moisture is right, which also helps defend off heat damage and things like that you all are concerned about as naturalistas, is heat damage. And if you get the right moisture and the right protein balance in at the beginning, you will help prevent things like heat damage happening. So moisture. You need that moisturizing shampoo, you need that moisture rich conditioner, and you need it based on your particular hair texture, okay? Y'all know I don't type hair, that alphanumeric stuff I don't do, okay? But you need it based on your particular hair texture. #3 for ensuring that your hair does not frizz or that you can stretch your silk wraps out a little longer than you probably think you can, is to make sure that your hair is getting the proper amount of heat. You have to know how much heat can be used on this person's hair to properly silk it out with one pass. Yep, I said it. One pass. This is how you also eliminate that heat damage situation. So you got to make sure that you're doing the blowout properly so that when you do go in with your flat iron at the right amount of heat degree, okay? There are flat irons that get up to 450 degrees, and very few, and I mean very few, people walking this planet need 450 degrees of heat on their hair in order for it to be silked and bone straight. Like, very few. Very few. So it is important that you get with a hair care professional again to ensure that it is the right amount of heat, that the blowout is done properly, so that when you do go in with that flat iron, it's not a crunchy situation and you're trying to get it straight as possible with the flat iron, when really most of the work should have been done with the blowout, if you know how to properly blow out your hair. My 4th tip is to make sure that you are avoiding things like rain. and humidity and hot steamy showers when you are silked out. When you're silked out, you better take you a quick bath or something like that. Or if you're going to get in the shower, make sure that you're wrapping your hair up or covering with a silk wrap and then putting a shower cap on, not a bonnet, but an actual shower cap, something that's actual meant for shower cap. They have some cute ones out there that you can get, but actual shower cap to protect your hair from the moisture that is about to be drawn from the steam in your shower. Your hair is always looking for moisture in general, but when you're natural, your hair is always looking for moisture because it needs, it desires, it loves, it wants to be with moisture, which is why number 2 is very important, because if you get the right moisture into your hair in the process while it is dampened, when it is dry, it is not looking for that moisture as aggressively, therefore prolonging your silk out and avoiding the what did I say? The frizz. And the last and final way to help prevent frizz and elongate your journey while you have your hair silk wrapped and silk pressed is to make sure you are taking care of it properly at night. Yes, proper evening maintenance. A great rule of thumb traditionally is to wrap it. Everybody's hair does not respond well to wrap, so there are 2 things. One, if I tell you to wrap it, if you're a client of mine, then it's because you can wrap your hair. However, there are other alternatives. You can pin curl it. Pin curls work great, especially if you have like a curly look for your silk outs. They work great. Or you can do what I just really love doing when I have like curls and stuff and I have a little more length, is to kind of pull it up into like a loose ponytail bun thing. So you like pull it up kind of high and then you make a ponytail bun out of that, and you can put a little scrunchie on it, but ideally you can try to tuck it within itself, and then you put your silk bonnet on and you go to bed. When you wake up, you just shake that bad puppy down, your curls are still intact, you look amazing, and that whole night, because everything was slicked up, your edges are still laid. It's just great. It's like one of my favorite ways to extend those curls, girl. So those are the tips. With number 5, you also want to make sure that you are using a silk or satin scarf, bonnet, whatever it is that you're using to tie your hair up with. Make sure that it's silk or satin, especially because you don't want it to be cotton, because it will dry your hair out. Cotton just absorbs moisture. So that concludes all of today's 5 tips to ensure that you prolong your silk presses and silk wraps, naturals, and relaxed. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have a topic, a question, or a deep, profound concern that you would like to see here on Mane Mondays, simply email me at ManeMondays@gmail.com. And I guess until next time, you guys, which will be next week, because I told you guys every single week. So that concludes it. It's Mane Monday. Bye.